Hello.
Hello, Eddie. How are you?
Fine, fine, quite good actually. How's it going?
Nice. It's going pretty well. Lots of news happened recently, right?
Yeah,
Just like tonight, we just had a big news drop from Warner Brothers,
we had a big
and I
nude.
wanted to talk. Big nudes? Did I say nudes? Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
No worries, bro.
Oh no! It's
Uh,
news. Thank
maybe
God.
maybe it's best to say that we are recording this on the 4th of December, just for
Yes,
the
we are.
record. And so for what you just told me, the news about Warner Brothers just came out today, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, so no nudes, just news drop, and it's basically about Warner
we
Brothers
have we
and how they're planning to release their films for onward to 2022,
we have the
basically.
we have the title of the episode. It's gonna
Yeah.
be
Oh my
news and
God, it's gonna be
nudes.
very misleading though.
No, but yeah. So the news just came out. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, tonight from.
About Warner Brothers' new releasing plan, if I can call it that way.
Yes,
Um,
basically everything they're gonna release is gonna be on HBO Max.
yeah,
We talked about HBO Max last week with Justice League, as it's
yeah, exactly,
planning to be
exactly.
on HBO Max
Yeah,
too. But
the low series.
all the films that they had planned for from here to 2021, that includes a crap ton of films that you were probably waiting for too, like Matrix 4, Dune,
Mm.
Space Jam, A New Legacy. Okay, I don't know about this one,
Actually,
but
actually, and just quickly about that, I hope Matrix 4 isn't actually Matrix 4, but just a prequel. But I think it is for what I've heard about it.
okay, I have seen nothing about it. But on the shorter release, I think it's on actually the end of this month. It's a Wonder Woman
Yeah,
1984 coming
1984,
out to HBO Max too,
exactly.
but strictly to HBO Max. Whereas the other films coming 2021 will be released both on HBO Max release day and movie theaters.
Movie theater at the same time,
Same
and
day.
that after 1 month you will get every movie deleted from HBO Max, and they'll only be
Yes,
available in theater, and even
theaters only.
and
Mm.
yeah, and I think they will even come out one at the time. At the releasing dates, they were expected to come out before then, before the
Mm.
coronavirus and everything.
I mean, it's always usually like that, even with movie theaters, because you don't want the Warner Brothers fighting against another Warner Brothers
Yeah,
movie, right?
exactly, exactly.
You don't want it to be concurrencing your own films.
Yeah,
That
yeah, but still,
doesn't really make sense.
let's talk about that. I mean, still, for what I understood, they are releasing every movies at the same time on HBO Max,
Yes.
and for what we know, what is the most important week for a movie that is just released is the first weeks,
Yeah.
even the
Yeah. Actually, yeah,
first
you're
one.
absolutely right. Yeah.
Mm,
The when you release a movie in theaters, the box office and the money coming in is most important for the first few weeks. So
yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, movie theaters, especially in America, feel like it's a bit of a low blow somehow. Like they're gonna lose a lot, and they're already losing a lot due to the pandemic. But this is about to get worse for them. But
Yeah.
of course, the CEO of Warner Brothers says that it's a win-win situation for both consumers and movie theaters owner. But I
Yeah.
mean, maybe he's preaching for his own church. I don't know.
I think, well, I think that's kind of a little bipolar, if I may say, because on one side you have this this guy at Warner Brothers that says that it's just something unique first, because that's the first time we ever see this type of
Yes.
releasing
Hmm.
this type of way of releasing movies, and you have some owners of theaters that are on his side. For what I
Yeah.
yeah, for what I read online, there are some theaters that are like, well, yeah, it's pretty. That's fine with us since you are still releasing the movies in theater. We'll still get the chance to have people coming to our theaters and everything. So
Hmm.
that's cool. But at the same time, we know that the situation, especially in the United States, is really difficult for the movie industry and especially for little theaters.
Yes.
So, and the fact that you have every movie on HBO Max at the same time, and that you don't have to pay that much to see them, there's going to be obviously people that are going to choose HBO Max instead of going to theaters because of the price. I think because of the pricing that I for me that will be the most the most important reason, because now cinema costs so much.
Yes. Yes.
I-
Especially in
I-
the US, it's the same.
yeah, in every countries, but
But
especially in the US.
yeah, it's getting to, actually quite expensive.
Mm,
Yeah, so I think the main reason for Warner Brothers, it's actually quite easy to understand. They made those movies before the pandemic for most of them, pre-production for a
yeah.
movie. You know that, but maybe not everybody knows. But production for a movie lasts for several years, from the writing uh, to the post production.
Mm,
So basically, they were already pushing back films like Wonder Woman 1984 was due October, but it's been pushed back, pushed back, pushed back again, and now it's releasing on HBO Max on 24th of December. So the films for 2021, they weren't. Let's just say that they didn't want to release it under a pandemic, of course.
yeah.
So they just want to get their investments back, basically. They have big money invested in it, and now they're trying to save. I guess
Yeah.
they're trying to save the whatever they can.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I mean, that's something that we can't really blame Warner Brothers for that. I mean, the situation
You
is
know,
difficult for everyone, and
yeah,
even
they're acting. They're. It's the best solution I think they found in a
yeah,
way.
yeah, and even though they are like obviously a big production company, they still have to make money, so
Yeah,
even though they are big, they still need to get investments and things. So I kind of
yeah,
understand why they choose to do that. In fact, the big problem for me isn't that the fact that they choose to release the movies like that. It's the fact that they have to if they want to keep it up. You know, I think
absolutely.
that the
Yeah, I
big
think.
problem is that they need to do that actually if they
Yeah,
want to survive, and not everyone wants to do that. For what I've read, again, Universal Pictures will release their movies in theater first, but they will all be available in VOD. I
video
don't.
on demand. Yes,
Yeah, video on
this is
demand. That's
correct.
cool.
Or SVOD if you want.
In SVOD.
Oh, that's the French
In
one,
a
maybe.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but yeah, they will release every movie they wanted to release in 2021. They will release them in theater first, but the time between the release in theater and in VOD will be shortened for something like maybe just 3 weeks, I think, or 1 month.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay. So how do you think this is going to be like? Because obviously Warner has a very different approach. It's everyone gets the movie at the
Yeah,
same time. Theaters and streaming platforms. But if you say Universal is doing it this way, do you think it's a better way of doing it?
I don't
Let the
really
movie
know.
theaters get their share, but then everything gets on VOD anyway.
I don't really know. I mean, and it's not only an idea, if I can say it like that. It's not really an idea only from Warner Brothers. It's also an idea from HBO Max, because HBO Max is trying to. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
some snatchy. It's starting to snatch some part of the cake. Like. Because Disney Plus obviously has Disney, Netflix has Netflix, Amazon has big money, but HBO has always been HBO. So they've always had this this politic of there was a slogan back then
Mm.
when HBO was on TV. They said it's not TV,
TV,
it's
it's
HBO.
HBO.
So they always had this search for greater quality,
Exactly.
almost like a theater movie like quality, cinema quality that you wouldn't always find on TV, of course.
Mm.
And so maybe that's very good for them because that's part of their plan. They're getting Warner Brothers on HBO, big money from Warner Brothers on HBO. So that's really good for them
And
too.
and they want to compete against Netflix, obviously. Now they
Yeah.
want to compete for real against Netflix, but because yeah, we don't have HBO Max outside of the US for now. But
No, we don't.
for
Yeah.
I think this move is the first step to a bigger plan where they want to
Expand.
expand, yeah, over the world and have
Yeah, I
every
mean,
country's access to HBO Max. I don't know how it can work. I don't even know if, because I mean, for what I can say, I know that people are obviously watching more things on Netflix and other kind of platforms now
mhm.
because of the pandemic, but also people have so many times for themselves. I think, for what I hear, they don't really watch movies. They way more watch series and TV shows,
TV shows. Yeah.
because yeah, they were for what I heard, people are more watching TV shows than movies on those kind of platforms. So
Yeah. Because
maybe it won't work. I don't know. Maybe it won't
yeah,
work.
because yeah, TV shows are longer, so they're more chronophagic.
Exactly.
Takes longer, so you can spend longer. Passes the time, I
Mm.
guess, more. Which is maybe, which is maybe not so desirable for HBO. Maybe they want or they want art. They want you to experience, full artistic movies,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Not just binge watching. Maybe I don't know. Maybe binge watching is just the way now.
Yeah,
But
maybe. Well,
I think it's
actually,
important, as you said. I think it's important for HBO to to start expanding more like Netflix did.
I think.
I don't know if you remember, but I remember when Netflix was announcing release in like Japan, Korea, India, Australia.
Yeah.
Now it's all Netflix. Netflix almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know, HBO maybe a good plan for them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's always more
In my
content,
in
put it
my
that way.
yeah, in
It's a
my
win for them. They're clearly the winners in this. I think
I
they get
think,
more
oh yeah,
content.
yeah, yeah, they completely are. But I mean, for me, in my
Unless
experience, I will still I prefer to go in theater if I can for a movie that I want to see
hmm
that just came out, you know.
hmm
So, but yeah, I feel like people were already kind of deserting theaters even before those kind of things.
yeah,
And now, if Warner Brothers starts to do that with HBO Max, if the other companies starts to do that, I think people will go less and less in theater. And I mean, that's fine. I kind of understand the choice. Obviously, I'm not criticizing anything. It's just that I think just for the experience in theater, that could be great to still have those kind of things available, And I don't want it to. Even though I'm not really that worried, I don't want it to kill the little theaters, because
of course.
obviously the big theaters, like the big multiplex and things, they will still be on their foot and ready to go, even though there is those kind of things that can happen. That's fine for them. But the little theaters, where you can see little movies and big
Yeah,
movies at the same time, I'm afraid they will disappear because of those kind of things. And there are some little theaters owners that are worried about that, actually.
yeah, absolutely. It's true that I don't know how they plan to face this because, of course, Warner Brothers, they have lots of means, so they can do that. They can just go to HBO and try to secure a deal because it's pretty much obvious that HBO struck a deal, with Warner Brothers, and I don't know how much they paid actually for the exclusivity on their films. But
Yeah, because
it's probably really high.
I was thinking about that too. I mean, won't really have like real money from people buying tickets in this case, you know.
Mm.
It's about the
Yeah,
contract.
yeah. It's they're basically. I think Warner Brothers basically. I think they have insurances also,
Oh,
but they're
okay.
basically trying to
Ah,
gets their investment back and maybe just the investment. So I think HBO just bought the film
yeah.
for their
Okay.
production budget. Now I don't think when a film is made, there's a lot of budget allocated to marketing. So I don't know if it's going to be as important now that everything is going to be on HBO Max anyway. So we will see. But yeah, it's I think Warner Brothers is just trying to get out, and
Mm,
stick their head out of the water.
mm.
Try to
Yeah, I think.
to. It's. I'm always like. Of course, I felt bad for the cinemas. Of course, the movie theaters. But if it prevents Warner Brothers from firing people, I
Yeah,
think it's still good. Because that's we know how that works.
I
They're
think
gonna
you have to
start
find the
degreasing
balance.
basically, cutting off people because they can't pay anymore.
Mm.
So if that prevents that, I don't know. Maybe that's already a good thing. That's
Yeah.
already working in their favor.
Yeah, but
That's truly
that's
a win-win.
yeah, but
But
that's a balance to find, you know,
yes,
between not firing anyone, but at the same time keeping low theaters alive. So yeah.
yes, it's important.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Eh,
I understand that's difficult for everyone. Even Disney is, even though they launched Disney Plus,
mhm.
they are losing so much money because of Disneyland's not working. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't even know if they are if the parks are closed. I just think
I
there are less
I don't
people
know.
going to them.
Yes, obviously, but it's I think there are lots of regulations too, limitations. So
Yeah.
limitations equals less people going in, and Disneyland works on having so many people in, I guess.
Mm,
Because of course, if you run a theme park ride, it's better to run it at full capacity than with half the people in it. It costs a lot to run those. So
yeah.
if it's not bringing you back enough money, you're going to start closing rides, the most expensive
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah,
And if
because you
people
can't
can
pay
go
for
to the
them.
most expensive ones, which are usually some of the best, are they still going to come?
Mm,
It's yeah, it's a never-ending story of struggle,
never ending
basically. But
stories.
it's Disney. I won't cry for them. I
No,
won't
me
cry for
neither.
them.
Especially
Yeah,
not Disney that they have the fox and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. I would share a few shed a few tears for Warner Brothers, definitely. Universal, maybe not, but Disney, no.
Yeah.
They're like wealthy enough.
Yeah, I think
I don't
so.
mind.
But now
But
now that we're talking about that, I have a little question just to expand the subject.
shoot,
For what you because I think I've talked about that with some friends lately. Um, Aside of the theater thing, what can you, in your experience, what do you see in terms of production in audiovisual uh, things, but also all art stuff, you know?
hmm
Because for me, I still see a lot of things coming out, especially in the music, you know?
hmm
There are still albums coming out, there are still music videos coming out,
of
even though
course,
the shootings must now respect the rules of the pandemic.
yeah,
But I feel like this is weird because a lot of people that be like that have an audience and everything are saying that they struggle with the situation and getting creative and in the production is difficult. But at the same time, I see so many things coming out. I don't really know where the I don't really know where everything where we are in terms of. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not really a question. It's more something that I think about. Yeah, I don't really know where people are in terms of possibilities and creativity at the same time.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting because I was thinking about it when while you were asking it. I was trying to grasp what you
Yeah.
were saying, and it's true that a lot of brand like big brands are finding ways to make of course it's a brand, it's still releasing stuff, especially if you're in the food industry, it's
Yeah.
still releasing product. Just because there's a pandemic doesn't mean people will stop eating. Actually, they start
Especially
eating
not
more,
eating.
you know so but how do you do a commercial under lockdown? And some brands have been doing the easy route, and others have gone the hard route, which means that still doing the same, but with a lot more regulation and less maybe less crewmen, less crew, or just like less mixing up of the people that
Mm.
work there. And now that you say that, I think I saw a commercial, not a commercial, sorry, a trailer for a French movie that was shot under lockdown. And they're like basically on Zoom or something. I think
Yeah.
I
Like
highly encourage that you look it up, but it's like with Fabrice Lucchini, which is a very decorated French actor, and it's like the story of those people, and they're like on video call or something, and they're doing
okay.
the movie like this. So I don't know if
Okay. That's
they
interesting.
probably shot it recently, but I think it's um, wait, I'm gonna look for it, but
Okay. Well, now that you say that, I didn't talk about that, but I saw uh, a little theater piece on WhatsApp. That's something that came out, I think, a week ago or something like that. Let me just check.
I'm also looking for the name
I
of the
think it
film,
was.
but I
I
can
think
can find it now.
the name was just Tragedy, and it was. So it was a play that was
Yeah,
entirely done on WhatsApp. So we had an invite on a WhatsApp group, and
yeah.
the actors were there, and the thing was that the audience was asked to not talk in the group while the play was playing, obviously.
Okay.
But all the story is going on in WhatsApp, and it's about a group of students that comes out of a theater where they saw a play, and they start to talk about it. Then they start to redo the play in their own way, but this play is also a thing about a big battle in space and everything. That's like fucked up, mind blowing cross timeline shit. But that's super interesting. That's super interesting. That talks about, like, well, obviously, what is the theater? How can we play without having a stage? And how we are all characters in our own way sometimes. That's super interesting.
So yeah, let me get this straight. So you saw a play on WhatsApp,
On WhatsApp, yeah. It wasn't
and
even
so you
filmed. It
were
wasn't
you
even
were you were in the audience,
it
I
wasn't
guess.
it wasn't even filmed or anything. It was just texts on WhatsApp, but it was a play.
Just text on
Yeah. And it
WhatsApp.
was and bro, it was super interesting. It was 1 hour long, and even though I didn't feel like it was 1 hour long, it was super cool. Super
So
super
yeah,
cool.
and you were basically just the audience did couldn't write or
They
just
they
didn't write.
could if they wanted, but they were asked to not do it because it was disturbing for the actors. The thing was just they just look at the play going on and don't interact with the actor until the end.
Okay, that's really interesting actually. So you're basically just reading the script
Yeah,
as it unfolds.
yeah, yeah. But they try to give rhythm to the thing and everything when they type. They
Hmm.
play on the thing. They play on the little things like he's typing, then he stops. She sends a lot of messages. Then you have a GIF. Then you have everything. So they use the how can I say that? Like they use the
The
medium of
texting,
WhatsApp.
yeah,
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 they use
okay.
the medium
Yeah, the
of
texting meta,
yeah, exactly.
the meta of texting. So yeah,
to give rhythm and and drama, and it was super super fucked up in a way because it's really experimental. It's even a little
yes,
experimental, but even
yes, that
even
sounds like it.
yeah, it's experimental in the way that they cross the different timelines and not especially timelines, but they cross the different they play between the different layers of stories, between the real play in space, the play that we see, the characters that are supposed to be writing on WhatsApp, and at the same
Okay.
time the characters they are playing. That's super fucked up. At the end you're like, whoa, I didn't understand anything about the story. No, you no, you understood some bits, but you don't understand the full thing. I mean, I think it could be interesting for me to go through the messages again so that I start to recompose the puzzle.
No,
Uh,
that's actually a really interesting and quite refreshing way to go around the
mm,
limitations that we go through currently.
yeah,
And now you called it experimental, but I think I would have said it was experimental if it came out before the pandemic. Now I think it's just adaptation.
yeah, maybe, maybe you're right.
Still experimental, but it's more adaptation play rather than. I mean,
Mm,
it's better to. I mean, at least they got to do their play, you know,
at least,
and
yeah,
it was
at least,
refreshing.
yeah.
It's probably not something that would last
and I
very
think
long,
it's
but
not and I think it's not that experimental in the way the theater is going actually,
mhm.
because I mean I'm not really the best one, the most informed person about how about the theater medium, but for what I saw in this play, it was like, yeah, it's kind of experimental because of the WhatsApp medium, but at the same time, that's something I think be I could see on stage.
Yeah,
Uh,
unfold. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it was well written. Was it actually planned to be on stage and then adapted to WhatsApp, or was it
No,
written
it
for
wasn't.
WhatsApp?
It wasn't. I think it was entirely written to be played on WhatsApp. Yeah,
Okay, 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 okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
and that.
there's so many things in the way they were playing that you can't do it without WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's really nice. You
like
know, actually, you make me think about this, but you know, in movies, more and more we've been digitalizing texting.
mm,
This thing that
yeah,
now we take completely for granted. It's so simple. It's everybody does it. Back in the early 2000s, when someone was sending text, you used to film the screen of the phone. Maybe it was a green screen, but whatever. Someone was typing, and you could watch the text happening real time on the phone. But nowadays, they do slow impressions, VFX, where you can see the character writing them, and then you see the almost in 50% opacity on the left of the character, on the right, unfolding on your right.
yeah.
You know what
Okay,
I
I see
mean?
what you mean.
It's very popular in TV shows mostly,
Yeah,
and
especially in Sherlock, you see
yeah,
this kind of
Sherlock
thing.
does it a lot. This is exactly what I had in mind. The
Yeah.
Martin Freeman character just writing text. It's like this everywhere, and we had good films like Megan is Missing, which almost entirely happens on a desktop computer. It's typically, I think Megan is Missing in a way is typically the type of film you would be able to do and you could do on lockdown. I think because it's just most of the time it's just one actor on the phone or something.
Mm,
And that's just
yeah.
exactly what people do now, or some guy on a desktop just looking at stuff.
Yeah,
So,
and
and then
no,
there is a bit
finish.
of things. There's some scenes in exterior day at the end, but still he's rather alone, so no, not a
Yeah.
lot of mixing. So
Yeah,
that's
and
really good.
speaking about that, I will recommend a little movie if you haven't seen it. It's called The Search. I don't know if you heard about this one, but
I think, yeah. Wait,
yeah,
hold on. The
you
search.
know about Unfriended, the horror movies
Uh,
that happens on Skype.
yes, I think it's not that good, right?
This one, no, this one isn't that good. But the Search is a thriller, like uh, that happens not really on Skype entirely, but that happens on maybe only Mac and computer screens. But I think you have some moments where you see some phone screens sometimes. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But that's so amazing. That's, I think, my favorite movie from 2018, for what I remember. I think that's 2018. Oh, sorry. It's Searching. Sorry. It's not The Search.
Oh yeah.
It's Searching. It came out in
Oh yeah.
2018.
Yeah, actually,
Uh,
you just actually that's the film I was talking about. Megan is Missing is
ah,
another film.
Megan is Missing is the name of the film. I have
No,
Searching.
it's another film that is sort of the same way, but it's really bad.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a
okay.
YMS on it.
Because
Yeah, sorry, I got that mixed up.
Searching is amazing. Really, Searching is so incredible. You have
Searching, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
okay,
It's so yeah, Searching is really good. Megan is Missing is
yeah,
like same type of films came before, but bad.
yeah.
Sorry.
That
Yeah, go watch Searching.
yeah, Searching is amazing. It's a big investigation about the fact that a little girl is missing. So maybe that's why
Mm.
you thought it was Megan is Missing.
It's
Uh,
actually the almost I think it's the same premise, but Megan is Missing is more centered around her being killed, I think, or
okay,
maybe no, she's just missing. I guess if it's named Megan is Missing,
okay.
she's
In
missing.
Searching, you don't know, and I won't spoil anything because
Yeah.
the what is really important in Searching is I won't say exactly the plot twists because there aren't really that most that much of
Well,
plot twists in it. It's more
I
about the
mean, to be fair,
revelations.
it's a thriller. There are lots of revelations, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's more about revelations. It's not really plot twists.
yeah, but it's really good. Yeah,
And everything. The fact that you follow the entire movie, you just follow her father trying to find
I
out where
understand. Yeah,
she is so great because you just have this character, you identify to him almost instantly. I mean,
yeah,
he has his struggles and and everything. He's not perfect, obviously. That's why I think
yeah.
he's well written.
Yeah,
And
this is a great character. He's trying to reconnect with his daughter. I think like
yeah,
they're like growing at a distance, and through that he's trying to understand who she really is.
yeah,
Because and there's it's actually good that they use a lot of Facebook in it too,
yeah.
and
And you have a lot of Facebook. You have some
some
uh
calls. I remember some photos, some mails. I
yeah,
think
you
even
don't really have
text.
YouTube. You
No,
don't really have YouTube because they didn't
no,
get the right to show YouTube, I think.
really?
So yeah, I think you have
Wow,
like
dick move, YouTube.
you have a you have a copycat of YouTube and a copycat of a Twitch at some point.
YouTube with two
But
O at
yeah,
the
you
end.
know what for what I remember, the thing that was so impressive was how they built the tension out of nothing happening on the screen. You know
Yeah,
that the most fearful moments were the moments where nothing is happening on the screen because you can't see
yeah.
anything outside of the screen, so you realize something is happening but you
Yes,
can only see the screen. It's amazing.
it's really tricky, yeah, because you have to create tension and suspense, but at the end of the day, you're just like looking at a desktop, so
Yeah.
nothing bad can really happen to your computer, to your sorry, to your characters.
Nothing bad can happen
So
to your computer.
yeah, the computer is safe.
Yeah,
However, the girl, not so
and
much.
that's why
Maybe.
Unfriended was not that bad actually. It wasn't despicable,
I think
but
there was a YMS on it too, but
it
I'm not
wasn't
sure.
really that creative on the way they were using the computer and
Hmm.
Skype especially. I mean, there's so many glitches in that film to uh, justify the fact that they wanted to add another shot of this character or this character, you know, and they wanted to mix their performance, which is understandable, but at the same time, they used it too many times, so that kind of go against the movie instead of helping it.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Actually, it's not. Now that I think about it, the whole aesthetic of searching is not that. It's not that new. I think it's been done before that several times. Now that I think
I
about it.
think, yeah, it's just that Searching is the best one I've seen.
Yeah, the
Because
more
I'm a lot into.
well-rounded,
Sorry.
the more well-rounded, and probably the best, the
Yeah,
worst written. Like,
I think because I'm really into found footage films, even though they are kind of
yeah,
now they begin to be a little cheesy maybe or
yes.
cringy. But I don't
Let's
know.
just say that it ages
Yeah,
pretty badly,
yeah,
right?
exactly. But I don't know why I really love the found footage because it sticks to reality so much. Even though I can see that it's badly done
Fake.
sometimes, I
Yeah.
I still love the found footage genre anyway. I don't know.
Would you say
That's just my
Searching
type of thing.
is a found footage film in your book, in
I
your
I
way of the
think
definition?
I think it is in a way. I think it is because you have
Okay.
this. Because for me, found footage is just it's not just only about having a story around the fact that we found footages, you know. It's
Yeah.
also about having a way of filming the movie in a way that the camera is in the universe of the movie, you know.
Yes.
The yeah, the camera is staged so the characters can interact with it and it's not something that is invisible. I think the found footage is more about that than just about, well, we found that footage and we now you can see them. You know,
It's
I don't know if that makes sense.
no, it does, but in a way, I think searching is it's almost like it almost reminds me like a documentary, you know. It almost feels like it sometimes,
Yeah,
you
but a
know, the
lot of
type
found
of
footage are like that actually.
yeah, because well, it's really close to reality, you know.
Mm,
It's really easy to get that. So sometimes even documentaries use news broadcast and stuff like
yeah,
that to relate news.
and actually,
It reminds me of that a bit.
way before Searching and Unfriended, you had a segment of VHS 2. Did you ever seen the VHS series?
No,
It's
absolutely not.
I think now it's a quadrilogy, even though it was a trilogy. Uh, it's of it. So yeah, those are movies where you have short stories, short found footage stories connected with one story that you at the middle of them you have one story that connect every one of them,
Hmm.
but that's the in a way that's the that's the best found footage movie you could find because that's way more realistic in a way, you know. You have a big found footage story in the middle of everything and the characters in it found they find all other found footages and they see
Yeah,
them, and so you have all those little stories in every episode you have six stories without counting the big one.
hmm,
So and in VHS 2 you had one of the segments that were staged in not Skype but another software at the time because that's
yeah.
quite old. I think VHS 2 came out in 2008, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't know what Skype was
Let
doing back
me
then, but
maybe I can check that real quick.
it's always quite fascinating. I don't know if you feel the same when you know inside of a movie, when you're inside of the movie and the character basically pulls out a a video footage inside of the movie and then they watch it. You know,
Oh,
it's something that I've always found quite interesting when they do
Yeah.
that. It's usually old stuff, you know, an old film, an old family
Oh,
film.
sorry, not
It's
2008, not 2008 at all. The first one were in 2012,
okay.
and the second one was rushed into production as early as October 2012, so it came out the same.
Ah,
It came out the same year.
okay.
Okay, cool. But yeah, what were you saying? Sorry.
So you know, sometimes in movies they bring up inside when you're inside of a movie and the main characters, you know, they bring up like some footage, you know, it's like
Mm,
a film inside of the film,
yeah.
and they start watching it. It's actually pretty weird. It like encapsulates another movie going experience inside of the movie.
Inside of yeah,
Um,
it's a movie inside of the movie. It's
yeah,
just
but I don't have the same feeling when I see movie characters going to the movie theaters, for example. But when you know what, sometimes when they pull like family fiction, family pictures or old family video, especially in thrillers, it
yeah.
always has an effect on me that's pretty chilling, pretty scary. I don't know
You
why.
have this in
I
you
think
have
this is
this in the Sinister series.
yeah.
You that's even the concept of the movie actually.
It's actually really
And
weird. It's the same in Millennium, you know, the girl with the dragon
yeah,
tattoo. They bring up like some old photos and they look at the way one character looks at another on the photos, and you can see barely nothing because you know it's a very old photo. But you know, there's like this cranked up zoom on the face of one actor looking at another, and it's like very poor definition. You can see the grains because it's so zoomed in, but you see this almost deformed face looking at another. It's like almost like a shadow or
yeah,
something, and it's super
yeah.
creepy. I don't know why.
When you yeah, I see
It's
what you
like they
mean.
captured the image of a demon, but
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
from
When
afar,
you
it's actually okay. But it's almost inhumane, like when you zoom in
yeah,
on
it's
the old
like
pictures.
those pictures where you're like, well, that's a fine family picture, and then when you zoom in, you see that there is something wrong in it.
Yeah,
That's oh yeah, I love those kind of things. I'm really into little
I think
horror
it's so
stories.
effective.
I'm really into little horror stories on the internet, and I love when people tries to recreate that with old pictures where they had some stuff in the background. You know, I love that. That's super
Yeah.
interesting because you have this thing where you only have the picture, you don't really have a story around it, and you just have to kind of yeah, like construct the movie on your own and the story on your own with what you see in the pictures. I think that's super interesting. That's a super interesting experience. And that's what maybe that's why I love found footage so much. It's because you don't see that much when in the good found footage films,
Hmm.
you don't see everything, you know, because the characters can't actually film everything.
Yes,
So you
it's
have
really their point of view.
yeah, so you have this kind of even Lovecraftian thing where you have to imagine what is hidden from you. And so
Yes,
yeah, I just love that. I just love
which
horror
always
movies.
played into the end of the fan footage genre because what you don't show, you don't have to, you know, budget
Yeah.
or make, you know. It's always been like this. But you know, the thing is, one of the found footage I like the most is Cloverfield. And
Yeah.
Cloverfield is
And you see a lot in Cloverfield.
surprisingly high budget for found footage.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually it's a disaster movie with some more scary part, more horrific part. You know, when they're in the tunnels and they're in the underground, the
Yeah.
metro. But overall, like it's still cheap. And you have this guy basically filming everything. He's actually portrayed as being annoying with this, but he films everything, and we
Yeah.
never see him. We never see his face
Yes, you see his face.
at the end.
Y- well, you see I don't maybe I don't want to spoil Cloverfield, but you see it two times.
Yes,
And especially at one moment.
but he
Uh
never films himself. Is what
no,
I
not
mean.
yeah, he never films itself that much,
Which
but
is weird nowadays
he
because nowadays you would selfie the crap out of this, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I think you
he
see
has
him
like
at the
this
very.
DC video camcorder, so he can't redo that.
I think you see him at the very beginning. Actually, he does a
Yeah, he
selfie
films.
at the very beginning.
Oh yeah, or he gives the camera to someone else,
Yeah,
and the person films it. Is that it?
yeah. I think that's that. And then you have another moment in the movie which I won't spoil, where you see him again. But yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah.
I knew you
Yes.
liked Cloverfield. That's not my favorite one, but I really like him. That I really like it. Like the
Mm.
fact that you have a disaster
It's
movie filmed in found footage is amazing.
yeah. The concept in of it of itself is yeah. I mean, if you imagine like this type of disaster, it's actually really iconic of 9/11 and stuff like that because it also happens in New York, and in New
Mm,
York the horror was lived through the eyes of the pedestrians.
yeah,
So basically, you had a lot of footage of the towers filmed from the point of view of the same guy, exactly the
yeah,
same, from a human point of view on the floor looking up at what's happening. And it's
yeah,
exactly the same with the monster, Monster destroys New York and he has the same point of view. It's actually quite incredible how this is the guy's point of view,
yeah,
what he sees exactly what he sees, and yet you never see him. So you're inside of the character like 100%, and yet you don't know a lot about him. Most of the other characters are the main ones, because he films them, and
yeah,
even though he's interacting with them, you only see them interacting.
yeah. Exactly. And I saw recently. I saw what's it called? Uh, the movie with the found footage movie with superheroes. Um,
Oh my god, it's called Chronicles. Yeah, there we go.
Chronicles, exactly. Chronicles. I enjoyed
Chronicles is
it,
good. Yeah.
even though it's not really in terms of found footage style. It's not the best one because you have so many tricks
Yeah, they
where
get away with a lot.
they can at some point they can control the camera, so they just control it with their minds, so the camera is just obviously filming
Floating.
them from the
Yeah,
outside.
it
So
could be a
that's
drone for all we know.
yeah, exactly. So that's yeah. There's so maybe too many moments where they use those kind of tricks in Chronicles, especially the ending, which is quite badly done, I think, for me at least. But even though that's a really interesting movie, in terms of in terms of story, especially how it talks about the struggles of teenagers again, like so
Mhm.
many movies before it. The way it talks about it through the camera, the found footage style, and at the same time the powers and the superheroes thing. That's I think really interesting to watch. Uh, and yeah, the only thing that was shocking for me was the ending because I remember it being messy and rushed a little bit in a way. But maybe I need to rewatch it just in case. I don't want to say too much about it because
Yeah,
yeah, it's far away.
it was yeah, it's not really what I remember the most actually, the ending, It's more the time they find out I think it's a meteorite or something that
Yeah, that's
crashed
something like
on
that.
Earth that gives them the powers. That's what I remember the most about it.
Yeah,
And then the part where they when they're in the sky, of course, with the plane or plane, they're doing baseball or something. What are they
yeah.
doing up there? I don't know. Don't remember.
I think they are
But
doing yeah
that's why.
baseball through the clouds.
Yeah. So yeah. See, a found footage that has baseball through the clouds. That's already pushing it.
That's interesting. Well, the now the film is getting kind of old, so the all the VFX starts to be too noticeable in a way.
Yes.
Especially when they are in the clouds, obviously, because that's entirely in green screen. Those parts.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it's weird because you have in a way, found footage has always been a synonym for low budget.
yeah, yeah, but
And
not
then
this one.
people start doing this in Cloverfield. So you're
Mm,
like, is it not going against what found footage is, or is it just like or is it just like innovating with the genre,
Yeah.
or is it just going too far with it? What do you think?
I mean, what you mean? Like, are we going too far now with the found
And were
footage?
they going too far when they decided that
For
found
Chronicles.
footage was going to be now a bit more high budgeted?
No, I don't
It's not
think.
just some guy in the dark saying I can close my eyes. It's actually people in the clouds now. So
Blair
that's
Witch,
really
amazing.
jumping.
I don't think it's going too far because that's still very interesting to watch those kind of thing. When you start to get used to the found footage, like me, you want to see more and more and more. So
Mm.
having those kind of films where you have not a low budget and big ideas about people playing baseball in clouds or uh, a movie with the like Cloverfield.
A disaster movie.
Yeah, a disaster movie. I don't. Can au pire je cutterai, mais can I spoil the fact that there is a monster in Cloverfield or not?
Well, I
I
guess
was what? Sorry.
yeah, you can, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
It's
it's well known now.
in the first um it's in the first shots, I think.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah. I
something that.
think it is.
Okay. Okay, for me it was something that comes out at 20 minutes, something like that.
Oh
But
yeah, but then that's not really a spoiler.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it was
no.
in the trailers, so
Yeah, okay. It was even in
you
the
you, you
fake.
clearly know that it's not like a natural disaster like we see
Yeah.
so often in the New York.
Mm.
It's clearly sentient. You know.
Well, the trailers were about that. The trailers were trying to, they created fake trailers with fake news flash in it
Yeah. Oh
about
yeah.
the
I
fact
think
that
you're
it
right.
was a
Yeah.
natural disaster and not a monster. Actually, it was super
Yeah.
interesting.
But then I think at the end, I remember that at some point you saw the head. It's at the very beginning, actually.
Yeah,
You saw the head of the Statue of the Liberty, and she has like claw marks on her cheek.
yeah. And I
So
think at that point you understand.
a tsunami wouldn't do that, or the wind.
Yeah,
Actually, the monster has a really high. How do I say it? It's really into symbols.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
would you attack this? I mean, it's
Mm.
not like it's gonna hurt you or something. Like,
Yeah, but
oh,
to
the
go.
Statue of Liberty. Yes, I must attack this to show those Americans that they're about to die.
But to go
It's all
back
about symbol.
to go back on your question, I think it wasn't going too far with the found footage having a big budget. It's more about trying to stick to the fact, trying to respect in a way the fact that the found footage must be, for me at least, coherent in the way they use the camera and having at least like a justification of the fact that the camera is rolling is difficult sometimes. And I feel like this is something I remember for Chronicles too. I think there
Yeah.
was some moments where I was like, why are you filming that? Like, I know you use your powers sometimes and you film your powers, but in this shot you aren't doing anything that you would like to film. So why are you doing that? So
It's often a criticism of found footage, actually. You know,
of a lot of
why
found
are you
footage
filming
films.
this?
Do you
Even
remember
people
this
who film
movie?
everything wouldn't film that.
Do you remember this movie we watched called Area 51? The found footage in the
Oh
Area
yeah.
51.
Oh
It's a
yes, I
bad one.
remember.
It's a really bad one, but it was so fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. It actually had its moments.
And
I'm gonna
it's
be honest with
directed
you.
by the guy that did the first Paranormal Activity. But
Yeah,
he had a big budget on this one, so maybe he was
maybe.
overwhelmed.
Absolutely. Maybe a big budget actually threw him off.
Yeah, he was like,
Because
ah,
paranormal activities are not highly budgeted films.
no,
They're
no, they are one of
definitely
the
on the
lowest
low side.
budgets.
Yeah. Which is why actually they were really sought after because I don't know if you remember, but Paranormal Activity's film were very successful
Yeah,
in
yeah,
theaters.
it was the most successful movie in terms of budget against
Rentability, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's no, sorry, not rentability. That's not what I meant, but it was profitable because it
yeah,
costs
profits,
nothing and
budget against profits.
it made like so much.
Mm,
That was
mm.
crazy. And actually, Blair Witch Project was like this, which is why people were making found footage because it was cheap and it made a lot of money.
Yeah, well, actually, Blair Witch Project didn't launch the genre because it was successful in its own way, but it wasn't
Oh, it was
as
very, yeah.
successful as Paranormal Activity was a few years ago, a few years after that.
Yeah, but
And
I think, yeah, but Blair Witch Project was always cited as a very a movie that made a lot of money and cost nothing.
yeah, yeah, it was,
It
it
was very
was.
profitable.
It just wasn't at the level of Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, but yeah, now I don't know how much Cloverfield actually cost, but I know for a fact that it was more than the ones we just listed before. Um, and it's actually it's this is why I was asking that like
Yeah,
is it not somehow a bit going against the main idea and the current. But I mean, I guess as long as the movies are well made, well crafted, I don't really mind.
yeah, me
Actually,
too, me too.
I prefer that, but um, it's um, it's true that as long as you respect, as long as you're not trying to get away with too much in the way
Mm,
of the found footage genre, as long as you don't push it too far for the audience in a way, like why are you filming this? Of course, if there is a big disaster in New York, you know you're going to film everything. I mean,
yeah,
it's actually it's such a good it's also happening real time.
yeah.
Everything happens in real time. That's such a good idea. There's no acts. It's just a long run for safety.
Yeah,
The
no,
most
for this,
primal.
for
It's
Cloverfield,
very
I
primal.
understand. I remember that there is just one scene where the guy is standing few feet away from his friends,
Yeah.
and they are talking about important stuff, and he's still filming them, even though they I think it was I think there's even one of them dying at that point. Spoiler. But and he keeps filming them like that kind of scene was a bit too much for me, but
Yeah.
it was just one scene for what I remember, or maybe two, but it was, yeah, it wasn't,
Actually,
this one wasn't justified.
since we're talking about found footage and good ones, I think we saw it together. You remember Wreck, right?
Yeah,
The Spanish one.
we saw the third the maybe we saw the quadrilogy of Rec together, I think.
Yeah. And those were great movies.
Yeah, the first two ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, true. There's actually an American remake called Quarantine. Absolutely terrible.
Okay, yeah, I didn't watch it because
I
yeah,
think
Rec
it's called
works
Quarantine.
already on its own.
Yeah, that's no good, no bueno. But the Rec ones, the Spanish ones, right? I think
Yeah,
they're Spanish films.
yeah,
They're Spanish, right? Yeah, and they're absolutely they're great, and they are extremely scary too. So
yeah,
especially at the
yeah,
end.
and one of the two directors, I think it was Paco Plaza,
Hmm.
did a movie called Victoria, I think, few years ago, in 2016.
Hmm.
Let me check that real quick. But I think, yeah, it was Paco Plaza that did. No, Veronica, I think. Yeah, Veronica in 2017.
Uh
He
huh.
directed
Yeah,
this
that's
movie, and it's not a found footage, but I just want to give it a shout out real quick because that's an amazing horror movie. Again in Spanish, about a teenage girl that struggles between the school and religion, and the fact that her mother is depressed, and in the middle of that you have an horror stories that starts to build in. I won't say that much about it because you really have to watch it to understand everything that happens in it. But that's a super interesting movie. I really like
Mm.
Veronica.
So Paco Plaza did Rec
Yeah,
1, 2,
he
and 3.
was. Yeah, he did Rec 1, 2, 3 with. He did the first two ones with Jaume Balaguero, and the third one it was only him.
Yeah, the third one's not that great actually. I remember it's with the bride
Yeah,
and a googly
yeah. The
eyes.
third one it was way more like yeah. It's just a bad movie, but it was kind of intended in a way, for what I heard.
Yeah, he wanted to kill it,
The
right? He wanted to
franchise,
kill the Rec.
but they did a fourth one anyway, so fuck
Yeah,
it.
so, as the same happened with the Eye. You know,
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember
yeah,
the
yeah. I
films.
remember the Eye.
The Eye.
Super
There are
interesting film.
films, horror films from Thailand, I think, and Thai horror is actually really underrated. So
Yeah. Well, that makes an hour, so we can wrap it
yeah,
up.
all right.
Well, I wasn't expecting that we were about to talk about found footage.
No, me
So
neither. I don't even remember how we got there. Oh
me
yes,
neither.
it was the searching,
Yeah, searching.
and not Megan is missing. Okay, don't watch that one.
So
Sorry for
yeah,
the squad.
well, we I hope everything will go well with the theater. To come back on that real quick,
Yeah,
in the United States, but in outside and everywhere in the world too.
yes.
And yeah,
I wish them
maybe
luck.
yeah, exactly. So see you next time.
Yeah, see you next week for yet another podcast.